Uncle Usual TV. What's the math on it? I got half on it. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Why we back? What we back for? We've been talking Diddy. So what we gonna do today? We're gonna talk a little bit more Diddy. You know what I'm saying? Let me give Mr. King Palm a ring right quick. Okay, so check. All this Diddy talk we've been doing over the past couple days went over 73 pages worth of affidavit filed against Mr. Sean Combs himself. So that got me to thinking. Like reading all that stuff that went on with a male, you know what I'm saying, with the male, Lil Rod Jones, the musician who has a gospel background. You know what I'm saying? He got a gospel background. You know what I'm saying? So we've been going over the case with this young man, and you know all of the things that he went through, and that got me interested in finding out what exactly went on with Miss Casandra Ventura, aka Cassie. You dig? So what did I do? I did some digging. That's what I did. I did some digging. Did I use a shovel or a spoon? I don't know. I ain't even have to dig that hard, so I might have used a spoon. But what did I come up with? Bling. We came up with the affidavit filed by Miss Casandra Ventura versus Sean Combs, Bad Boy Entertainment, Bad Boy Records, Epic Records, Combs Enterprise LLC, and Doe Corporation. 1 through 10. And it comes with a trigger warning. That's interesting. This document contains highly graphic information of a sexual nature, including sexual assault. SA. You know what I'm saying? So, what went on, Cassie? I ain't gonna keep y'all waiting no longer. Let's find out together. Plaintiff, Casandra Ventura, Miss Ventura, hereby alleges as and for her complaint against defendant Sean Combs, Mr. Combs, Bad Boy Entertainment, Bad Boy Records, Epic Records, Combs Enterprises, LLC, and Doe Corporations 1 through 10. Together, defendant corporations and together with Mr. Combs, defendants as follows. So the prelim. So it say Puffy is a rapper and a record executive, popularly known by Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, or Diddy. Yes. Came to fame in the 90s with Bad Boy. Over decades, yeah, his prominence in the music entertainment, he rose to prominence. Yeah, he did. That's true. As a hip hop, he was regularly referred to as a hip hop mogul, which he has been. You know what I'm saying? Diddy did put in, he did put in some work in the industry. 2022, he received a Lifetime Achievement Award from BET. Yep. I have to give a special shout out. Thank you. This is during his acceptance speech. Mr. Combs stated, I have to give a special shout out. Thank you. Love to the people that was really there for me. He named a number of people before adding, and also Cassie for holding me down in dark times. Love. Oh, so he shouted her out in his Lifetime Acceptance Award speech. Interesting. The truth, however, is that Cassie, Miss Casandra Ventura, was held down by Mr. Combs and endured over a decade of his violent behavior and disturbed demands. Ooh, she called his behavior violent and his demands disturbed. For Ms. Ventura, the dark times were those spent trapped by Mr. Combs in a cycle of abuse, violence, and sex trafficking, among other violent and unlawful acts. Mr. Combs, now they finna start naming stuff. That's why she got the big bucks. See, that's what I want to know. I want to know why was he so quick to throw her excess amounts of millions of dollars. You know what I'm saying? Because she got upwards of 20. I'm thinking it was a 30. From what I understand, it was a 30 ball. That's life changing. Okay, what'd he do? He raped Miss Ventura in her own home after she tried to leave him. Wow. Often punched, beat, kicked, and stomped Miss Ventura, resulting in bruises, busted lips, black eyes, and bleeding. Blew up a man's car after he learned that he was romantically interested in Miss Ventura. He blew up somebody's car because they was liking on her with male sex workers while masturbating it. Wow. He forced her to bang male workers while he played with himself and recorded these encounters. Ran out of his apartment with a firearm in pursuit of a rival industry executive whom he learned was nearby. So he done chased somebody down with the tool. Demanded that Miss Ventura to carry his firearm. I don't know if that's worded right. That just don't. Demanded that Miss Ventura carry his firearm in her purse just to make her uncomfortable and demonstrate how dangerous he is. And introduced Miss Ventura to a lifestyle of excessive alcohol and substance abuse and required her to procure illicit prescriptions to satisfy his own addiction. Wow. Miss Ventura met Mr. Combs in 2005. It's a long time ago, 19 years ago, when she was 19 years old and he was 37. He signed her to his label, Bad Boy Records, and within a few years lured Miss Ventura into an ostentatious, fast-paced, and drug-fueled lifestyle and into a romantic relationship with him. Her boss, one of the most powerful men in the entertainment industry, and a vicious, cruel, and controlling man nearly 2 decades her senior. Yeah, he was damn near 20 years older than Shorty. He almost 20 years older than her, so of course he has more knowledge of the world and he's able to use and manipulate her, if that be the case. Well, obviously was the case because he cashed her out the next day. Long story short, she asked for these meals under the table. You understand what I'm saying? She asked for these meals under the table. He didn't give her the meals. So guess what? She took it to the courts. You know what I'm saying? She took it to the courts. Hold on one second. Whatever. All right. So she asked for the meals. He ain't give her the meals. She took it to the courts. Now, see, smart man, if he knew she had all this evidence, he should have gave her the meals. Because once she filed this, he cashed out. That opened the floodgates. That gave other people the courage, should I say, or the scruples. You know what I'm saying? The sack. Gave other people the sack to get in on the act. Mr. Combs asserted complete control over Miss Ventura's personal and professional life, thereby ensuring her inability to escape his hold. He provided unprecedented avenues for success for the aspiring artist, but in return demanded obedience, loyalty, and silence. You see what I'm saying? So long story short, she did it all for the opportunities, if you ask me. And she one of the people that, you know, it didn't end the way she wanted it to end. So she, you know, she took it to court and got what she deserved in another way. But at the same time, you sold that shorty, to be honest. I don't care what nobody say. Y'all can get mad at me in the comments all y'all want to, but she one of the people that sold that. Now, the other dude, he too current to try to just tell him he sold that. He gathered his evidence. He was scared. The man had him fearful. You know what I'm saying? But shorty, you could have told a little earlier than this. You waited a dub. You waited a dub. You know what I'm saying? You waited a dub. With me, you got 5 years, shorty. But that's neither here nor there. But we going over the case. I'll let y'all tell me how y'all feel about it. We can disagree, though. You know, we can disagree. It's fine. You know, it won't be the first time I disagree with somebody. Throughout their relationship, Mr. Combs was prone to uncontrollable rage and frequently beat Miss Ventura savagely. Damn. These beatings were witnessed by Mr. Combs' staff and employees of Bad Boy Entertainment and Mr. Combs' related businesses. but no one dared to speak up against their frightening and ferocious boss. Now, on one hand, man, as they, but it's different for them though. So I gotta retract some of that statement, some of that previous statement, because it's different for them than it would be for somebody like me. I just don't see Diddy as a scary like. You can't scare me, Diddy. Boy, I beat you up, bro. I beat you up in front of everybody. I will beat the brakes off of you, bro, and then I'll be blackballed, and that's fine. But I beat the brakes off of you. But for aspiring artist girl. I don't know where she from. She might be suburban. She ain't used to that type of lifestyle. He'll put this gun in your purse. He scanned her. So it hit different. Yeah, all right, Cassie, you might have been scared, but you still took a long time to speak up. You should have spoke up a little bit earlier, but all right, whatever. You got your M's. You did your thing. It hit different. Following these episodes of horrific abuse, Mr. Combs would immediately attempt to hide Ms. Ventura and the evidence of his violent rage. He often showered her with gifts following incidents of physical violence, a typical pattern of behavior by serial abusers. True fact. So, I don't know. Everything ain't for me to understand, so you just got to take it for what it is sometimes. In addition to the physical assaults, Mr. Combs frequently reminded Ms. Ventura of his ability to cause serious harm, whether by requiring her to carry his gun in her purse or by blowing up the car of a musician that was romantically interested in Ms. Ventura. So, yeah, he scared her. Adding insult to injury, Mr. Combs used illegal substances and threats of violence to force Ms. Ventura into repeated unwanted sexual encounters with male SWs. You see what that is? SWs. Male escorts. He put on the pack and make her act how he wanted to act. Over the years that Mr. Combs abused Ms. Ventura physically and sexually, she again and again tried to escape his tight hold over her life. Every time she hid, Mr. Combs' vast network of corporations and affiliated entities found her, and those who worked for Mr. Combs' companies implored her to return to him. So, yeah, that's some crazy psycho rich person stuff. So, yeah, she couldn't go nowhere. Many went as far as to explicitly state that her failure to return to Mr. Combs would hinder her success in the entertainment industry. Damn. Well, I had so much trouble saying the entertainment industry. That's easy. When she believed that she had finally separated from her longtime abuser, she joined Mr. Combs for dinner, after which he forced her into her home and raped her while she repeatedly said no and tried to push him away. So she thought she had got away and he raped her. Miss Ventura has now fully escaped Mr. Combs, but the harm that the assaults and sexual abuse he caused her to experience for nearly a decade will forever haunt her. She has required intensive medical and psychological care to recover from the trauma that she lived through. So she had to go through a lot of therapy, basically. She can't live in silence about what she endured. Diddy, yeah, he remains powerful and dangerous. So she's seeking justice for a decade of her life that, he supposedly took away from her with threats of violence and drugs, and physical and psychological and sexual slavery. Ooh, she called herself a slave. Monetary relief. She's seeking injunctive, declaratory, and monetary relief against the defendants. Yeah, so she want that bag, boy. You know what I'm talking about? And she got it. Okay, and this all that court jargon. Parties. She's a California state resident and Connecticut. She was employed by Bad Boy and Bad Boy Records, Bad Boy Entertainment, and all the other entities. At all relevant times herein, she met the definition of an employee. Diddy did what? He resides in California, and he's an employer. He met the definition of an employer. So they was employer, employee, basically. It's saying she was a Bad Boy Entertainment employee. She was a Bad Boy Records employee. And she was an Epic Records employee. She was an employee of Combs Enterprises, and she was an employee of Doe Corporation. Factual allegations. 2005 or early 2006 is when they met. She heard her first single playing in the club and expressed interest in signing her. So he heard her single playing in the club, and I guess he went to the DJ on some "Who is that?" You know what I'm saying? I want to sign her type thing. She was 19, he was 37. Within months, she signed a 10-album deal. Man, 10 albums? Man, he signed her to a 10-album deal. He knew what he was doing. But you got to understand, this is Diddy. He been doing this, man. This is his game. This is his game. Her first album was released in August 2006, debuting at number 4. Man, that's high on the Billboard 200. She made television appearances on TRL. I remember TRL, 106 in Park. She suffered from performance anxieties from all these appearances in press outlets, and they were highly critical of her performances. He sought to rehabilitate her, telling MTV News, "You can hear the nervousness in her voice, and to be honest, I kind of smiled at it because it made me really appreciate what I really love about her. She's a regular person. It just made me appreciate that she got nervous, and it was kind of cute to me, to be honest. You got to understand that success for her is coming out of nowhere. It's just so huge, and sometimes everybody handles it differently." That's what he explained to MTV about how her performances were, lacking or whatever. While clearly paternalistic and noting that it was cute to him how regular she was, it was kind of true. Upon signing with Bad Boy Records, Miss Ventura was quickly thrust into the spotlight and was unfamiliar with how to navigate her new celebrity status. So she just got through to the top. That's like that. Some people do though. You know what I'm saying? Some people take a liking to some of these artists and they'll push them to the top. Like you don't even really got to work for it. It's called recognition and glorification of Miss Ventura's naivety, whatever. Y'all know what that means, and I know what it means too. So that set the groundwork for him to start manipulating her, basically, romantically and sexual. You know what I'm saying? He finessed his way into that, signing with Bad Boy. Within a year of signing with Bad Boy, he became deeply entrenched in Miss Ventura's life, almost immediately asserting possession and control over her. So he did that. So he did that on purpose. He signed her just for that. You know what I'm saying? That's what he wanted. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it worked. In '06, he invited her to perform his song "Come to Me" with him at the MTV Europe Music Awards in Copenhagen, Denmark. Mr. Combs walked around in a robe with his drink in his hand after rehearsal. Lavish parties lifestyle. Okay, so he had his robe on with his drink in his hand. He flossing at her. Yeah. He was popping it to her at that time, like you know, welcome to my world type of time. During hair and makeup leading to the performance, artist told Miss McKee that Mr. Combs was interested. So her hairstylist and his makeup artist told her that he was interested in her. So yeah, she shrugged it off like whatever. She was like, "Nah, he too old for me." Emphasizing the age and power dynamic on her work relationship, he positioned himself as a father figure and the protector of her by way of example. returning. So when they got back from New York, when he got back to New York from Las Vegas, she was in the hospital. Why was she in the hospital? Which are there to brief hospitals. Ms. Ventura, who I then was went out to the club with her friends. He saw her out and reprimanded her, telling her to go home and take care of herself. Okay, he seen her at the club and got mad and sent her home. She thought he was looking out for her well-being. You know what I'm saying? She thought that he, was on some father figure type stuff, but he wasn't. I said that he was. It said that he was intertwined with Miss Ventura's personal and social life, for instance, by inviting himself to her 21st birthday. Oh, he invited himself to her party. So he asserting himself in her life. He brought some famous people, musicians and producers. He flaunting this, so yeah, he putting that celebrity status in her face, and it's captivating to her young mind. You know what I'm saying? He knew what he was doing. She was in a relationship at the time, and he was in a relationship with Kim Porter. He ain't care. At the after party, what he did, he pulled her in the bathroom and forcibly kissed her. At the after party to her 21st birthday party, he pulled her in the bathroom and forcibly kissed her. And she ain't consent or didn't even want it. She ran out and she cried. She told her best friend, and was scared to tell anybody else because she was thinking about her career. So it's cold, but at that point, that's when she sold herself. When she kept, because you got the opportunity, you got the option. It's yay or nay now. You could have shut it down right then, but they be thinking about them careers. So her boyfriend came to the table at the awards ceremony and he got mad and told her she was the only one invited. It wasn't for him. Man. Despite her rejection, he continued to demand her spend time with him. Spent the weekend at his house in Miami and nights out in New York City. So he taking her out. He making her spend the night at his house in Miami and taking her out in New York. In 2007, he insisted on taking her out. She was scared, so she went. And she was scared that it was gonna have, repercussions for my album deal. She was scared she wasn't gonna get, you know what I'm saying? She was gonna get put on the shelf. She was scared. So, like I said, at that point, you selling yourself. He picked her up from her apartment in a blue luxury vehicle. She was surprised because he was already drunk. He handed her a pill and told her to take it. She asked him what it was. He was like, "Just take it. You gonna like it." It was a bean. He put her on the bean and took her on the scene. And she ain't never done it before. She ain't want to try it, but she did it anyway. He was driving reckless down the West Side Highway of Manhattan. She was scared, but she ain't object because he was drunk and agitated. He took her to an upscale lounge in Manhattan. He got into it with the security staff, and because they wouldn't let him in because he was drunk. She decided to go home, but for the rest of the night, he messaged her complaining that she left him, Yeah, it be them type of nights. Like you out your mind. He on that bean. He on the beans. Understand me? Eyes probably dancing in his head, jaw moving back and forth. Hey, girl, you left me like this. It be like that. That's cold blooded. All right. In the fall of '07, he flexed his power when he paid a promoter to create a fake flyer for a party. and that gave her an excuse to go to Miami and get away from her boyfriend, saying she had an event. I gotta be in Miami. I gotta party out there, but it was fake though, and that was just, you know what I'm saying. It was interesting. It was like fascinating that he can get people to lie for him like that, basically. You know what I'm saying? That was fascinating. Like he got some pull. She was uncomfortable with the fake flyer, but just because this Miami trip was like he told her he had to go Diddy, she was scared to go against him. That's what it's saying. She ain't want to face repercussions with her album deal, so she agreed to go. Basically, is what this saying. He provided her with copious amounts of drugs. That's a lot. She got higher than she ever been before. And it lasted the whole weekend. She feeling like she can't refuse him telling her to take more stuff. And then he got her. Right there. That's when he got her. He got her out of her mind, and then he got her. Within 2 years, she found herself lured into an immediate circle of her boss and the owner of her record label. So he got her down there in Miami with this fake flyer, got her away from her BF, got her on it, all these substances. That's what's being said. I can't say how true it is. That's what's being said. That he got her down here, got her out of her mind, and got her. You know what I'm saying? Long story short. That's cold. If that's how he did, that's cold. That's cold. He's considered a music mogul. And she was the starter. She was at the start of her career as an entertainer. His aggressive and demanding approach to those he worked with made it impossible for anyone to challenge him. And Miss Ventura soon learned that Mr. Combs insisted on blind loyalty from everyone in his inner circle. Although Miss Ventura had saved up some earnings from her young modeling career, Mr. Combs's ostentatious display of wealth was intimidating to her. Man, they typed this out. Whoever she got to type this up, they cold. You know what I'm saying? They cold. Her lawyers is cold. They had one in the bag, one in the pocket, and one in the bush. You feel me? They ain't leave no stone unturned. He paid for things with wads of cash and would repeatedly tell her, "Don't worry about money. I got money." He took on lavish vacations, bought her a car, paid for her crib, and gave her a whole bunch of designer clothing. Around '08, '09, he began to rent an apartment in Manhattan for Cassie. It was within walking distance of his crib in New York. The first time he showed her, she had her parents with her. Her parents were skeptical, but they was proud of their daughter. But at the same time, how he was acting, they were skeptical of him. In 2010, he paid for her Los Angeles crib, was close to him. He bought her a Jag in 2013 to 2014. He was controlling all aspects of her life, her cars, her cribs, what city she lived in. Yeah, he controlling everything, basically, is what the affidavit is saying. Yep, every event. He paid for everything. That's how he had her. So they say all-encompassing intrusion into her life. Compounding this all-encompassing intrusion into her life, he secured his control over the young and impressionable Miss Ventura by introducing her to a drug-fueled lifestyle that kept her complacent and compliant. He introduced her to opiates in '08 and would often have pills and other drugs out in the open like candy. He just got the dope out. Girl, take some of them pills, man. You good. He been addicted to prescription painkillers, so he on them yerkies. He on them yerkies and them beans, man. He on them yerkies and them beans. Man. Okay, so he was giving us script pills from the doctor in Miami. Okay, so he sent her in her own name. After he blew through his supply, he sent her to the same doctor to get him in her name. He became deeply involved in her personal life, in Cassie's personal life. His personal staff tending to her day-to-day travel and other needs, medical care. He was having her personal medical records sent directly to his own email. She began experiencing memory loss, potentially due to excess. She taking so much drugs. Basically, is what it's saying, that she's experiencing memory loss, and also due to head injuries caused by Diddy's beatings. Man, so they saying he beating her and drugging her, so she having memory loss. And he had his staff to drive her to her appointments. So yeah, he exerted ownership over Miss Ventura. Yeah, she was his property. Yeah, it says he manipulated Miss Ventura and ensured obedience early on in their relationship. He asked Miss Ventura what she called her grandfather. When Miss Ventura said that she referred to her grandfather as Pop Pop, Mr. Combs perversely insisted that Miss Ventura refer to him. He made her start calling him Pop Pop, like her grandfather. That's wow. That's some mean allegations. Boy, if he read all this and then came to the conclusion that it was all true, Diddy, you a horrible person, fam. Say, you horrible if all this is true. But like I said, she was selling her soul, man. You know what I'm saying? She was dancing with the devil. And a lot of times, you get what you want, but in the middle of the dance, you feel the need to change the song. You want to put that gospel back on. It hit different when you want to put that gospel back on. What started as a whirlwind of celebrity meetings and drug and alcohol fueled parties, however, quickly turned frightened and violent. She was also exposed to intense violence that pervaded Mr. Combs' rise to fame. They were using drugs together in his home. And his security staff barged in and announced that Suge Knight was spotted at Mel's Drive-In Diner in Los Angeles. He began to get dressed and retrieve multiple guns. So they come in and say, we know what Suge get, and he jump up and grab guns. And he on his way, so he on some slide on the ops type of time. And she became terrified and started to cry. He made her hold his guns at least 2 times. He made her hold his guns in her purse. She don't know nothing about guns, and she's scared it's gonna go off, because that's how girls that don't know nothing about guns, they think like that. It's probably gonna go off and all that stuff. They do. Believe me, I know they do. And there was no reason except to reinforce his young girlfriend that he was violent, powerful and dangerous. Hold these guns, he scared her. Over the next decade, multiple times each year, he'll beat her up, leaving bruises on her body. After every time he beat her, he used his money and power to orchestrate extensive efforts to hide the evidence. He was hiding her in hotels for days at a time to let her bruises heal. After a party with Jay-Z, he beat her up in an Escalade, including kicking and hitting her. He forced her out the vehicle on Fifth Avenue. He put her out on Fifth Avenue, and she had to catch a cab to get to her apartment. And she cried because there wasn't nobody she could tell about it. In 2009, he learned that she spoke to another manager at a party in Los Angeles and got mad. she thought, speaking to this manager, she was trying to, basically she trying to move forward, and she thought he was gonna be happy, but instead he got mad and pulled out the club. In the car leaving, he pushed her into the corner, and man, he was stomping on her face in the car. Boy, crazy. So he done pushed her into the corner of the car and stomped on her face. A security guard tried to stop it, but he was unable to. When they got to his house, she tried to run away. He followed her and started kicking her in the face some more. She was bleeding real bad. He took her in the house and she began to throw up. Okay, so he realized how bad he done beat her up. He panicked and sent her to the London hotel in Los Angeles, where she was required to stay for a week. She started realizing that he got some people and they wasn't gonna do nothing about it. She was powerless. She started realizing he scared her. So he got her feeling like she powerless, and he got all these people around him that'll watch him do this terrible stuff and they won't do nothing about it. So she was scared. She asked to go home to her parents and he wouldn't let her. She lied to her mama. When her mama seen the story about her getting beat up in a forum, online gossip forum, she lied about it. He bought her all kind of gifts, had them sent to the hotel. That's how abusers do. That is abuser behavior. I ain't saying he innocent or guilty, cause I ain't the judge. But that do sound like abuser behavior. She was terrified and isolated, and she couldn't see how she was gonna get out of it. She started getting numb to the abuse. Blindly follow his instructions. She started blindly following his instructions, or else she knew she was gonna get beat up. He said they was like Bobby and Whitney, a clear allegement of the unequal power dynamic and excessive domestic violence that permeated their relationship. From the outside looking in, other people was referring to them as Ike and Tina. I mean, that's kind of what it sounds like. It sounds like Ike and Tina. It don't sound like Bobby and Whitney, because at the end of the day, Bobby and Whitney had that strong love with a C, strong love, you know what I'm saying, for the time that they had it. But this sound like more like Ike and Tina. This hit a little different. Within a few months of beginning a romantic relationship with 40-year-old Mr. Combs, the 22-year-old Miss Ventura felt beholden to his whims and demands. While in New York City, Mr. Combs and the Miss Ventura that he wanted to engage in a fantasy of his called voyeurism. Mr. Combs said it would turn him on if he saw Miss Ventura with another glizzy. It hit different. You gotta be a different type of dude for that. It hit different. The first time Mr. Combs hired a man and brought the man to his home in L.A., the man, Mr. Combs, and Ms. Ventura wore masquerade masks and ingested drugs. Mr. Combs directed Ms. Ventura to perform sexual acts with the man while Mr. Combs watched them. He touched himself while he told them to do specific things. The encounter lasted multiple days. Man, he began to call it a freak off or FO. He would repeatedly tell Miss Ventura at random moments that he wanted an FO, and Miss Ventura was eventually expected to facilitate the location and the hiring of the dude. She got to find a man, find a spot. At certain points, he would insist on a FO weekly. Was our thing and our secret. He said that, yeah, these FOs is us. It's our thing and our secret. It hit different. FOs would often take place in hotel suites, including the Trump International Hotel in Columbus Circle, the Hermitage Beverly Hills, the London Hotel, and in Los Angeles, the Intercontinental Central City, the Intercontinental Atlanta, the Intercontinental New York City, the One Hotel in New York and in Miami, the Mandarin Oriental Hotel in New York and in Miami, the Fountain Blue in Miami, the Beverly Hills Hotel, and the Shutters on the Beach in Los Angeles. Man, they had the spots. Woo, that was a lot. But I had trouble reading all that. They had the spit knots, you hear me? On one occasion in 2013, Mr. Combs had an FO set up at the Intercontinental Hotel in New York City, after which he was charged with tens of thousands of dollars in damages by the hotel. Upon information and belief, Mr. Combs' chief of staff, Tony Fletcher, paid the invoice charged by the hotel. So he got so loose, he messed up the hotel. It hit different. Ms. Ventura was eventually instructed to use websites and services to find these people to participate in the FOs. He told her to look for tell her to look for big black pipes is wild, bro. Say look for big black pipes. That is wild. Bro, more specific than the Pacific. It hit different. Do you hear me? Do the math on. You gotta look for specific big black pipes, cause that's crazy. All beef glizzy. The big bite. Buddy tweaking. Hey, I'm saying, man. Them substances will take a hold of you, my boy. It's say you gotta tone it down. Tone it down, sir. Sometimes he would pay to fly him to his location, multiple cities in the United States and abroad. He said he bringing them from everywhere. Cassie and his staff got to do it. His assistants helped setting up the FOs, setting up the hotel suites with baby oil and Astroglide. That is wild. He supplied with copious amounts of drugs. He supplied her and the escort with copious amounts of drugs before and during the FO. She was giving beans, booger sugar, and this GHB. I thought that was like a DR drug. You know what I'm saying? If you understand what I'm saying, Special K, gas, and lick. It hit different in excessive amounts during the SOs. So it allowed her to disassociate from these horrific encounters. It became commonplace to get IV fluids in the days after an FO to recover from the excessive substances pushed upon the thing. She got to go get IVs after that. That's crazy. She was required to dress up in lingerie for the FOs, white nail polish. The contrast with the skin of the black men he hired, that's wild. Pour excessive amount. He telling her to pour excessive amounts of oil all over herself. They speak to each other and whisper. Hold up. To speak to each other. Where does she? So he director. Grab that big black pipe. How I feel. That boy, wow, bro. I hope y'all can see this. Y'all need to be reading this because, certain stuff I just don't want to say all the way because, sometimes YouTube be tripping. So I be trying to tone it down a little bit. During the FOs, he telling her to touch herself. He using his phone. He filming while she doing her thing. He treating it like a personal art project, adjusting the candles and getting the lighting right. He really directing this thing. He in there like do this, do that. While Miss Ventura quickly deleted any photographs or video they were taken on her phone, he made it clear that he retained them. Like, yeah, she deleted the ones off her phone, but I still got some on my devices. And he'll tell her he can recover them. And he sat next to her on a flight and made her watch one that she thought she had deleted. So I don't know. That boy got tech, boy. He got tech people that like really pulling up stuff she deleted. Like, look at this. Watch this while they sitting on the plane. He paying that. He paying, man, that's good. That's good money. He paying the boys a few bands. Them boys eating, man. Them boys eating, man. Say, hey, if all this really happened, I'm glad Shorty got her due. You know what I'm saying? Like, it took her a while. Like, I don't agree with how long she waited, but I'm glad she got her due because this is wild, bro. Diddy, if you did all this, this is crazy. This is crazy. And it's bad that Shorty, like, I'm not laughing at her. I'm laughing at him. You know what I'm saying? So in no form of y'all see me laughing, I'm not laughing at nothing about Cassie's case because that's serious because it's people that's going through stuff like that. But I'm laughing at him. If this is true and this how you get down, boy, you a wild boy, son. You a wild boy. Dang, he'll get so drunk he'll beat her up in front of them. She became petrified of him. And she felt like she couldn't say no, so she doing everything he said. Now that's terrible, bro. That's terrible. In the middle of the FO, he presented her with lavish gifts, designer bracelets and all that. Man. So at the end of the day, it was selling itself. That's what it was. Frequently, her anxiety before an FO would become so great that she would become physically ill, sometimes to the point of vomiting. Man, that's cold. While kneeling over the toilet, Mr. Combs would shame her into performing her for him, eventually forcing her to get up and proceed with the encounter. She knew firsthand that telling Mr. Combs that she did not want to engage in FOs was met with anger and violence. That's cold-blooded. In addition, any suggestion that Miss Ventura would refuse the FO or otherwise report Mr. Combs' abuse was met with ultimatums by Mr. Combs, who would say that Miss Ventura could not go to the police because she had a lot to lose. So he like, you got a lot to lose. You can't go to the law. You go to the law. That's messed up. That's brainwashing, though. So she was brainwashing. Ain't no telling how long that lasts. See, I can't. That's why I'm saying I've never been brainwashed, so I don't know how brainwash work. I don't know how long it lasts. So while I'm looking at some of this stuff, like why you was still there, like at the end of the day, she was brainwashed, bro. That's cold. But ultimately, though, in that beginning, that first encounter, like when he forced himself on her and kissed her and stuff, you stayed for your career. So that's when you sold yourself right there. That's the point when you sold yourself. You know what I'm saying? Around August 2015, for example, in the middle of a surprise birthday party dinner for Mrs. Ventura's 29th birthday, Mr. Combs insisted that Mrs. Ventura leave the party and go to a hotel for an FO. When she expressed that she did not want to go, Mr. Combs had Miss Ventura cornered by his security staff in order to force her to leave with him. Man, after this FO, Mr. Combs and Miss Ventura went back to the hotel room that Miss Ventura was staying in, where some of Miss Ventura's friends were already hanging out. Mr. Combs was severely intoxicated and at one point during the night picked up one of Miss Ventura's friends like a child and dangled the friend over the balcony of the 17th floor hotel suite. Man, dangle one of her people over there? That's crazy. Miss Ventura and her friends were scared by Mrs. Combs' erratic behavior, but Miss Ventura was heavily sedated because of the drugs she took to participate in the FO, and therefore was unable to respond to Mr. Combs' terrifying behavior. The FOs became work for Miss Ventura, and despite her protestations, Mr. Combs insisted on these intricately staged and forced sexual encounters between Miss Ventura and various male escorts. Okay, so we went through 19 pages so far, and it was interesting as hell. It was interesting as hell. It's actually sad. If that's what that girl really went through, that's sad. And obviously she did went through, because he paid her the next day after this came out. Shorty, you should have paid Shorty way before this came out, because now the floodgates is open and the water's coming in, and you're close to drowning, you're neck deep. You gonna need God, Jesus, Allah, Satan, Thor, and the Incredible Hulk to save you from this one, my boy. Straight up. So that's the first 19 pages. We gonna go through the rest tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Because as y'all know, I don't really like to read, and it's starting to get on my nerves. So, but then at the same time, I would like to break these videos into two pieces, because I don't know. It's probably been about a half hour. We like to keep it about a half hour on these right here. Other videos I try to keep under 5 minutes, but this a little bit too spicy for the pepper, and it's a whole lot of mess to digest, and we gonna definitely go over it, because this whole Diddy fiasco is crazy, man. From Lil Rod to Cassie, but Lil Rod opened the door for me to want to read about Cassie, and now that I'm reading about Cassie, I'm locked in, I'm in tune. So y'all stay in tune, get in tune, and we gonna be in tune, and we gonna figure out what Diddy really got going on. Did he really do this, or did he not? I'm thinking Diddy did. Because give up that bag, Diddy did. But stay tuned for the next installment of the Cassie paperwork. Uncle Gizzle TV, what's the math on it? I got half on it.